Good Friday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Chris Harapsky. Developing right now, Israel launched a major attack on Iran Friday, drawing into open conflict their long-running war. It has mainly stayed in the shadows in a way that could spiral into a wider, more dangerous regional war. The strike set off explosions in the capital of Tehran as Israel said it was targeting Iranian nuclear and military facilities. NBC's Keir Simmons reports.
Hey there, good day to you. There has been a fresh wave of Israeli strikes today and reports that the Iranians fired more than 100 drones, many shot down, Israel said. Meanwhile, President Trump, who had questioned whether an Israeli strike would help, now saying on social media that the next attacks are already planned and will be more brutal. The IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, says that 200 Israeli fighter jets took off to carry out these attacks. Israel saying that it targeted not only Iran's nuclear sites but also its military leadership and military bases. A clear campaign by Israel, not just to try to take out the Iranian nuclear program, but to take out many leaders in Iran who were responsible for that program and who had vowed to eradicate Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, saying that there was a threat to Israel that was existential, that had to be addressed. Keir Simmons, NBC News, Dubai, the Gulf.
New today, the man who walked away from that deadly plane crash in India that's killed nearly 300 people says he escaped through a broken emergency exit after the plane went down. Ramesh Vivashkumar said it felt like the plane came to a standstill before the engines kicked in and the plane crashed into a hostel below. Incredibly, doctors say he sustained only minor injuries. Right now, rescue crews are still searching through all that debris, looking for missing people and parts of the plane. Investigators have recovered the black box from the plane that will tell them, what was happening before and during that crash. The FAA, the NTSB, and Boeing officials are on the ground right now in India helping with the investigation. Developing right now, an appeals court is allowing President Donald Trump to maintain control of California's National Guard to try and quell anti-immigration enforcement protests in Los Angeles. This is after a lower court ruled his actions illegal. The ruling will likely go all the way to the Supreme Court as another appeal hearing is set for early next week. It comes as the city and others across the country prepare for major protests on Saturday against immigration enforcement. Meantime, in Los Angeles, businesses downtown are struggling.
There's a huge impact, between the fear of the raids and the protest, the looting, not the protest, the looting that's happening after hours. It just adds to the fear, and we struggle on a normal basis with the perception of downtown. And, this is something that's, I honestly don't see how we're going to be bounced back from this. This is going to take a lot of work.
Back here at home, a woman arrested after last week's protests on federal raids in Minneapolis is now out of custody. Isabel Lopez is charged with assaulting a sheriff's deputy and federal officers while federal agents were executing search warrants on Lake Street. Lopez will be free until her trial, which has not been scheduled yet. Federal officials said the raids were related to an international crime ring involving drugs and human trafficking, but social media posts by several elected officials claimed it was about immigration enforcement. Jennifer Hoff went back to those who posted to see if they still stand by what they said.
As fast as a federal raid happened last week outside several Minneapolis Mexican restaurants,
shame on you! Do not understand what's going on.
So too did the response from protesters concerned it was related to immigration enforcement, fueled in part by ICE agents on scene. And social media posts drawing attention to it, like this one from City Councilor Jason Chavez, Mayor Jacob Fry, and other agencies trying to clarify what was happening then and now.
The single most important thing that leaders can do is get the truth, is be honest. and make sure that people out there are not operating on misinformation but have the facts.
Fry taking issue with how Chavez and other community groups referred to the situation that federal documents now show was tied to drug trafficking after agents found 900 pounds of meth in a local storage unit.
This is an opportunity to be on the same team, to have a united approach. And we need to also be on board in making sure that we're disseminating accurate information in a unified way.
In a new statement, Chavez writing me in part, as the son of Mexican immigrants, I've always been taught to let community know when ICE is present. The last thing we want is having community members most impacted to be unprepared and taken as collateral damage. Psychologists say it's natural for people to assume there's an immigration raid given the current political climate, but all the more reason to avoid jumping to conclusions.
In an age when things can spread so rapidly, being sure that we have it right is more important. And in this particular case, I think there's some obvious recommendations. It's like, don't bring ICE out when you're going to do a drug bust, because people are on edge about that. Slowing down in terms of judgment. Sometimes you have to engage in action, but you have to understand there could be mistakes.
Even the Star Tribune sent a news alert to its readers saying that ICE had surrounded a Mexican restaurant. Yesterday, they're standing by that, saying that they used all the information it had at the time, then marking the story online as developing. While we know ICE was on scene, it says it was working with Homeland Security for the first time as part of that criminal drug investigation. Happening right now, police are investigating after several members of the U of M Board of Regents had their homes vandalized early Thursday morning. In a statement, the school says it believes it was in retaliation for the university selling the U-Moore Park property in Rosemont to a local aerospace company. The U's president saying that there was a clear attempt to threaten the regents.
Well, we do not yet know who these individuals are who committed these illegal and frightening acts. The university unequivocally condemns this and all vandalism, threatening behavior, and acts of violence.
New today, a federal judge in Massachusetts is blocking part of President Donald Trump's executive order that's trying to overhaul how elections are run in the U.S. The preliminary injunction blocks requirements to show written proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote. The judge also blocked Trump's effort to prohibit states from counting mail-in ballots that arrive after Election Day. The mail-in ballot ruling applies only in states that filed the lawsuit. Opponents of the executive order say requiring documented proof of citizenship would deter people from registering. The judge noted examples such as college students or immigrants who do not have access to a birth certificate or passport. Right now we're learning what led to Brooklyn Center Police shooting a man late Wednesday night who they say was wielding a chainsaw. Police say it stemmed from a domestic violence call that turned into a standoff on 63rd Avenue North. After crisis negotiators got to the scene, they say a man came out of the house with a chainsaw. Police say they tried less than lethal methods before ultimately shooting him. Neighbors nearby tell us that they've had previous interactions with the same guy.
It was nothing personal, because I knew he wasn't all there. He told me he was mentally ill from the jump because it's happened before with other people too.
Yeah, he's followed people down the sidewalks and stuff and just harassed them.
Brooklyn Center Police say that man was taken to the hospital. We don't know his condition. Police say he is stable. Got a traffic impact alert now about a closure happening just a few hours from now. A section of I-94, part of what you see here, will shut down in both directions in Minneapolis tonight at 9 o'clock, and then it'll last through the weekend. Jessica Hart has some ways to navigate around it.
Construction confusion has drivers looking for the nearest exit.
It's just a mess.
A mess Jennifer Scholler can't avoid.
My commute usually is like 6 to 7 minutes. I'm about 14 to 21. To get home, I hope it's under 20 minutes. And I only live 2 miles. You doing okay?
Scholler and her brother own Zips Liquor on Franklin Avenue, but the construction on I-94 prevents anything but a zippy trip.
The puns. It's a nightmare. I mean, every employee is late every day. People are calling us on the weekends of how do I find you? What exit do I take?
A lot of these bridges are aging, and we have to make sure we keep them in good condition and safe condition for motorists.
Kent Barnard is a spokesman for the Minnesota Department of Transportation. With all of the construction, even he gets confused.
It's hard to know which ramps are open and closed if you've been using them, unless you pay attention to what's up on 511.
This weekend, MnDOT is shutting down a stretch of I-94 between 35W and Huron Boulevard to work on pavement.
And we've got quite a bit of the pavement missing in here. They'll come in here, they'll clean this out, and then put new concrete down in here.
They'll switch traffic from the east to westbound lanes so crews can repair the other half of the interstate. A weekend closure bound to make drivers furious.
It's not fun.
Jessica Hart reporting there. We got a look from our nation's capital today where some major preparations are underway for a massive military parade there this weekend. It's the country's first military parade in more than 30 years, and it will include hundreds of tanks and more than 7,000 U.S. soldiers. The parade is to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. Some of the participating soldiers say that they're excited for the support.
It's pretty important. I come from a long line of military in my family, so being able to do this and get to see the support and being able to support such a big thing is important.
Ma'am, I'm thrilled to be here, really. It's an honor to represent the 82nd Airborne Division, the All-American Division, America's Contingency Response Force. We remain ready at a moment's notice to deploy anywhere and fight the fight as needed by the President of the United States.
Check this out, a brand new farmers market now open in South Minneapolis. It's the Uptown Farmers Market. It's been in the works for about a year and a half. The idea comes years after the East Isles Farmers Market wound down, leaving a gap in the community there. The market was busy yesterday despite starting off with some heavy rain.
Yeah, it's been an incredible turnout, especially for our first day, especially because we started out the market with a downpour. But as you can see, we're already packed and it's just 5 o'clock. So.
Cool. If you want to check it out, market will be open every Thursday from 4 to 8. It's on Lake Street near the Girard Avenue Plaza. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.